Campaign ad released by 2016 Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, touting her so-called foreign policy credentials and readiness to take over as commander-in-chief. Here with reaction, author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Things That Matter, 3 decades of passions, pastimes, and politics, now out in paperback. Fox News contributor Charles Krauthammer. Charles, I cannot think anybody in recent memory that has had such a horrific week as her. Now down in Iowa behind Bernie Sanders, a 27-point deficit in New Hampshire, and the intelligence community inspector general talking about dozens of emails on her server beyond the classification of top secret. Wow. And what are your thoughts? Does she survive this?
Yes, but I would add to that catalog that appalling ad. Is that all you've got? You know, you've been Secretary of State for 4 years, and that's all you got, the ceasefire in Gaza. Who believes that she had any real hand in that? I mean, everybody knows she traveled a lot. What did she accomplish in 8 years in the Senate? What did she accomplish in the White House as the co-president to Bill Clinton? I mean, she's drawing on experience, but it shows you how thin is what she's running on. Now, as to what you said, I still don't believe it's going to make a difference in the end, because she's running against a cranky old socialist who honeymooned in the Soviet Union. I mean, it's too implausible. Yes, I think he's got a good shot to win Iowa. Yes, I think for sure he wins New Hampshire. But where does he go after that? He goes into the South. He represents a constituency that is the coastal liberal elites and the college towns. And that's really it. And with that, you can't win the nomination. There's one person who holds the key to her future, and that is FBI Director Comey. If he makes a criminal referral, then I think everything changes and all hell breaks loose. If she is, I mean, even if the Justice Department refuses to pursue an indictment, it would be a scandal of the first order. You would get resignations like in Watergate, and I think she'd have to be pushed aside. In case, you'd be looking at a Biden candidacy. But anything short of that, show me a scenario where she loses to Bernie Sanders.
The fact is, though, she wasn't supposed to be in this position 10 days out of Iowa.
That's true.
Mike Mukasey, former Attorney General, well-respected, you know, writing in the Wall Street Journal in an op-ed, you know, criminal charge is justified here. I think this Inspector General's report from the intelligence community is so damning that from everything I've heard from everybody that knows James Comey, straight shooter, the evidence seems incontrovertible, Charles, and overwhelming that she violated laws and that felonies were committed. How could he not recommend some type of indictment?
Well, given the history of Obama's Department of Justice, yes, they could decline to indict. It's been totally politicized, as you know, from day one. So I wouldn't put it past Obama if he thinks, if they think, his people think, that she is the best chance to carry on his legacy. Remember, everything Obama has done, whatever achievements he sees as a liberal in his own mind, depend very largely on whether he gets a third term. I mean, Reagan had a third term. The only president, the only time since 1952 that a party has held on to the White House beyond 2 terms. And that helped to solidify the Bush years, the Reagan legacy. Without a Democrat in the White House, you and I know all the executive orders are canceled on day one, and Obamacare is going to be a teetering wreck, and I don't think it will be able to survive Republican presidency. But look, I wrote in a column 3 months ago, I started it with this line: unless indicted, Hillary Clinton will be the Democratic nominee, and that's a sentence you've never seen written before. Major party presidential nominee.
Last question.
But it remains true.
There's always been this ongoing feud between the Clintons and the Obamas. One has to wonder if whether or not a wink and a nod would be given to Loretta Lynch if it was a devastating report put out by the FBI and James Comey to go ahead with the indictment in the hopes that Biden wins. Do you think that Obama would prefer Biden or Hillary?
I think he would. But if he were making that choice a year or two ago, I think he would have put his thumb on the scale of a Biden candidacy. But right now, it's a train wreck. She drops out, he gets in. Sanders has the majority of delegates. You've got to change the rules. The Sanders people feel betrayed at the convention, overridden. And then you've got, like a Venezuela, the opposition wins the election, and then a Maduro. And I mean, it's 1968 all over again. You and I would love it. We would take a front seat.
You're right.
And we'd pass the popcorn, and we'd have ourselves a jolly time. But the Democrats at the top are not that stupid, and I think it would be extremely dangerous for them, and would put a continuation of their control of the country deeply in jeopardy.
All right, Charles Krauthammer, always appreciate you being on. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, when we come back, we